What kinds of systems are used to show fuel flow in turbine engines? They can use vane type flow meters, synchronous mass type meters, or electronic motorless mass flow meters. What does a mass flow system actually measure? It measures the mass of fuel passing through, which depends on the fuel's density and temperature. In what units are motorless mass flow meters calibrated? They're typically calibrated in pounds of fuel per hour. If a turbine engine always shows unusually high fuel flow, what might that mean? It could mean internal damage or wear to turbine components, especially if other instruments show abnormal readings too. Who is allowed to repair a fuel flow indicating system? Only an FAA approved repair station certified for that specific type of instrument. Where can you find the power requirements for a fuel flow system? They're listed in the aircraft's maintenance manual. Where is the fuel flow transmitter installed? It's positioned between the fuel control unit and the fuel nozzles. How is oil temperature measured in a small single-engine airplane? A sealed bulb filled with volatile liquid sits in the oil strainer. As the oil heats up, pressure builds in the connected tube, and the gauge converts that pressure into a temperature reading. How are cylinder head and exhaust gas temperatures measured? They're measured using thermocouples, which generate a voltage based on heat. What type of system is used for electrical oil temperature indication? A ratiometer type system that measures resistance changes in the temperature probe. What should the cylinder head temperature gauge read when the engine is cold? It should match the outside air temperature. When installing thermocouple leads, what's more important, length or resistance? The resistance is critical and must match the value specified on the gauge, usually 2 or 8 ohms. What does a ratiometer temperature gauge show when power is off? The pointer rests off scale on the low side. How does a ratiometer type oil temperature gauge work? It measures electrical resistance from the temperature bulb and converts it to a calibrated temperature display. What kind of tachometer is used on small piston aircraft? A magnetic drag tachometer, similar to a car's speedometer. Why might the tachometer needle jump or vibrate? Usually because of a dry or kink drive cable between the engine and indicator. What type of tachometer is used on large multi-engine aircraft? A three-phase AC electric tachometer. How does an AC tachometer measure RPM? It senses the frequency of the AC power generated by the tach generator. Higher frequency means higher RPM. What mechanism is used in an oil pressure gauge? A bourdon tube that flexes with pressure changes. What mechanism measures manifold pressure? A differential bellows that reacts to changes in intake pressure. When the engine isn't running, what should the manifold pressure gauge show? The local barometric pressure, matching the altimeter setting for field elevation. What type of fitting connects the oil pressure gauge to the engine? A restrictor type fitting that dampens pulsations and minimizes oil loss if the line breaks. What fills the line between the fuel pressure gauge and fuel system? Light oil, such as kerosene, used to dampen pulsations. Why might a fuel pressure gauge fluctuate? Because the dampened oil has leaked out of the line. What pressure range is typical for a float carburetor fuel pressure gauge? Usually between 1 and 25 pounds per square inch. What do the annunciator light colors mean? Green means normal, yellow signals, caution, and red warns of a serious problem. What does a torquemeter show? It measures the actual twisting force on the propeller shaft using oil pressure from a torque valve that moves with engine power output. What does the engine pressure ratio, EPR, indicator measure? It compares exhaust pressure to inlet pressure, showing how much thrust the turbofan engine is producing. What is the EICAS system? The engine indicating and crew. Alerting system displays key engine and airframe data electronically, showing only essential info until an abnormal condition occurs. What does FADEC stand for, and what does it do? Full authority, digital engine control. It's a computer-based system that fully manages turbine engine operation, fuel flow, power changes, and temperature control, working with the flight management computer. What is an ECAM system? The electronic centralized aircraft monitor tracks engine and system performance, displays warnings, and can even show checklists during system malfunctions. What do the red, green, and yellow colors on aircraft instruments mean? Red marks a maximum or unsafe limit. Green shows normal operating range, and yellow warns the pilot to use caution.